Hi, welcome to Thought Arouser. This episode uncovers what it means to love God with every ounce of energy, ability, and resource you have. We'll challenge ourselves to steward our strength wisely, serve wholeheartedly, and discover new joy as we pour out what matters most for God's glory. Let's review the context. Deuteronomy 6:5, the Shema. The word translated might encompasses energy, resources, everything you have to give. Thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, with all thy soul, with all thy might. All of your energy, all of your resources, everything you have to give. In Matthew 22:37, Jesus affirms the call to total commitment, every ounce of ability, capacity, and endurance. We've been extracting two principles as we've looked at each word. This is your love for God that includes your energy, your abilities, and how you steward your time and influence. Specifically, the principle is this: our love for God includes our energy, our abilities, and how we steward our time and influence for God. That is all-encompassing. Generally speaking, loving God with all of our strength is faithful living. It's dedicating our strength, not just physical, but emotional, mental, and even financial resources to God's purposes. Might is every resource and every ability, your capacity to do, to endure, and invest in what matters most. How do I nourish strength? One of the best ways is to balance activity and rest. In Exodus 20, we read, honor the Sabbath. And there were reasons for that. There were Sabbath principles that were applied to the animals, to the land. The rest was very important. Conversely, or the other side of that coin, is to fuel your body. 1 Corinthians 6:19 and 20 talks about how we treat this body, the temple of the Holy Spirit. It needs good fuel. One of my recent lessons is food is fuel. It's not reward. And when we look at it that way, the strength is better managed. We steward our gifts and our skills. Romans 12, verses 6, 7, and 8 talk about the God-given abilities that we have with how we're supposed to use them. We need to identify them, and we need to steward them. Part of that is to protect from burnout. Serve with joy, not obligation, Paul wrote to his friends at Colossae. You can find that in Colossians 3:23 and 24. So balance activity and rest, steward your gifts and skills, and protect from burnout. How do I grow and deepen my might? That requires stretching. Just as powerlifting increases a person's muscular strength, we need to regularly accept new challenges, serve beyond our comfort zone. We need to practice generosity, not just your checkbook, debit, or credit card. This includes your time and your talents, in addition to your treasures in kingdom's work. Being generous with who we are, what we have. Practice generosity. Thirdly, develop discipline. We've been saying this all along. Develop small daily acts that are physical, relational, and spiritual. They align, they become routines, mini routines, habits, we call them. And those are very practical. Being strong and staying strong. So someone's coming up behind me. How do I model this? How do I teach this kind of strength to others? Serve together. Invite others to join you in acts of service. Celebrate effort and progress, not just outcomes. Think about that. You're driving home after having served together, and you say, we got a lot done today. That is productive. That is uplifting without necessarily looking at the outcome. But you're celebrating the effort when you mention things like that. Encourage your spiritual gift. If you know what it is, that's easy. If you don't know what it is, someone nearby you may identify it for you, or you may take a survey that helps you understand what your gifts might be. As you're working through teaching this to other people, what we want to do is share stories of endurance and God's provision. James started his letter to his dear friends. My brothers, count it all joy when you fall into divers temptation, knowing this, that the trial of your faith worketh patience, the first domino of what becomes strength, real strength. We're going to have challenges with this. The enemy's going to make sure we do, and we're going to contribute to it as well. Overcommitment is a danger. Maybe we need to think about being with God. Henry Blackaby's Experiencing God mentions a concept of discovering what God is doing and joining his efforts. In that way, we are being with God in what God is doing. It's separate from doing for God. There's going to be the challenge of comparing our gifts to the strengths of others. We are responsible to God for what he has given us. You want to review the parable of the talents. The principle applies to skills and abilities. The ones who received the compliment, the endorsement, were those who doubled what they were given. It wasn't that there was 5 and 2 necessarily. It's what they did with what their master entrusted them with. So what are the benefits of living with all of our might, with all of our strength? We're going to find as we live, as we grow, that we serve with new capacity and deeper joy. When you're enlarging, when you're stretching your skills, when you're learning new abilities, you have more ability to be used of him in his service. That's investing. And we are going to inspire perseverance and resilience in others. A while back, there was a gentleman at the MS Just Keep Moving gym that Brenda participates in, and I go there to help her. He said, about the only time I don't like being here is when everybody else is working harder than I am. We want to inspire perseverance and resilience in others by the way we invest our strength and our energy. If you get to the end of the day or the end of the week, you can say to the mirror, I spent it all. That's a good thing. But be sure to rest. Don't stay up all night because tomorrow's coming and you're not ready. I spent it all, and I will again tomorrow.